Hey guys, and welcome to another video from the Parrot Bros. Now today we're going to be doing a removal and refitting of a headlight. It's a question I get asked all the time about doing, and now I'm finally taking the front apart. I thought it's a great time to do it. So I'm going to show you where all the fixings are, how to remove it, and all that other great stuff. So before we get stuck into it, let's jump into the intro. Okay, so you want to remove your headlight. Now there's a few things you should know. Ideally, you could do with taking your front bumper off, because there's a fixing, which I'll show you, which is on the inside of the headlight here, which is about there. If you can get your grille off, ideal, do that. If you can't, it's pretty hard to do through your grille because it's got a big washer on, you won't be able to get it out of the hole and you don't want to drop it, and then you're going to have to take your front bumper off anyway. So it may not be impossible, but it is certainly a damn sight easier to take your front bumper off. Now, if you don't know how to do that, top corner, I'll put a link to the video we did on how to remove the front bumper. Pretty simple, 6 across the top, couple underneath, and then there's a couple here and a couple here, both sides. And then once you've done that, really simply, you can just pull that off and then it pulls out. Ideally, it's a two-man job because you're going to have to hold it whilst you disconnect the squirters and all of that sort of stuff. So what I'll do is I'll quickly get this bumper off, then I'll come back to you and we'll go through how we get this off. Okay, so you've got your front bumper off. Now we can focus on getting the lights undone. Like I said, you can see here, there's a fixing. Well, you might not be able to see actually. But there's a fixing here, which is this inner side one. And the other fixing is obviously there's two on the top, which are Torx 30. I think they're Torx 30s. Yep, T30, Torx 30. This one on the inside may be a Torx 30. Mine's actually an Allen key because my last one snapped and I had to re-tap them. And then the last fixing, which is what I'll show you now on the camera, is there's like an S-shaped bracket in the wheel arch, which I'll show you on the car in a second, which basically slides over this, and then there's an S-shape, and then it bolts into the inner wing. So get your two loosened on the top, get your front one loosened, then we'll move into the wheel arch. I'll take you there now. Okay, so like I said, in the wheel arch, now where you can see, but basically this bracket here, that slides over the headlight there, and then Z's down, and you undo that one there. Then this plastic bracket just slides off the headlight. I'll get that undone, and then I'll show you how it comes out. And this one is a Torx 30, this one. Again, same. A bit tricky because it's in an awkward position. But like I said, once it's undone, the bracket will come off. Keep them separate because they are sided. I've actually written on mine. So there's the bracket. If you don't have one, that's what you need. I'll put the part number in the description. And I just wrote on mine near side and offside just because it's really easy to get them confused. So once that's off, pop that somewhere safe out the way where you're not likely to lose it. We'll get these two fixings off. I'll quickly whip off this inner one. And then that is pretty much it. Okay, so once you've got that released, finally, that was a bit rusty, this will just lift out. Now, there's a couple connections. There's a connection at the bottom, which is your main one, and typical VAG plugs, you have to sort of push them in, pull the tab and lift it out, which is always awkward when it's in a position you can't get to very well. Right, that's the main one. Then there's a little one. Now, the little one, you can actually just cheat and twist the bulb and then pull it out. So yeah, two places to get to for your lights. There's one here, which is the one you can cheat and twist out, and then there's the main plug that controls all of the lights. Now, there's a couple of things to remember. If you're upgrading your lights, if you're doing what I'm doing and going from the black insert, obviously they're like scrap. I'll try and machine them up. I might do some fancy things. I might do some we'll fit some lights and we'll do some other stuff with these ones. But there's a couple of types. Now, these are the later ones, and they have the xenon controller there. Now, the older ones, I don't know if I've got one or not in the garage. Let's have a look. Because the older one has a separate controller in a separate place. Now, I think all the ones in the garage I have are the new type. Yep. Typical. So in the older type ones, you'll have, from the early ones, they'll have a separate box which will be mounted just behind the headlight, which you can just unplug from the headlight to that. So it's a separate plug, but besides that, they're all exactly the same. Like I said, 4 fixings. It's front, left, right, depending on the inner one. 2 tops, 1 on the outside, and it just makes for a nice swap. Now, I'll just show you why I've done this. So I actually prefer the silver inlay. It's a personal preference. It depends what you like, but for me, I know it's not the greatest thing to see. I'll tell you what, let's lay this one over the other one. And apart from the fact that it's really faded, the silver inlay just looks a little bit better in my opinion. Another good thing to do is, mod-wise, is you can actually split these apart, which isn't that hard. We'll do a video on that at some point. But split these apart, and you can actually paint the inlays body coloured. I'll stick a couple of photos up now so you know what I mean. And these are people that I know that have done this. Looks quite cool on the blue, on Carl's, and also I noticed Adam has done it on his grey one as well. And it does look quite cool. A little bit of faff required, because obviously you've got to split them, you've got to paint them, you've got to do a few other bits whilst you're there, but as a rule, it's not that hard, as long as you're happy to have your car off the road for a few days whilst you do it, or you get a second set of lights. But when you do that, try and make sure you get one with no tabs broken, no damages to the casing. Quite often, these can get damaged. I mean, my ones are in a horrible condition. They've got scuffs all across the front there, some bleach on the top. I mean, you could probably get that out. It's just the casing, so I will do my best to try and get that out, because it's always nice to have a spare, just in case someone decides to treat you to a little kiss in a car park or something. Or you're a bit slow on the brakes. But yeah, with this one, if you're going to take these out, it's always worth taking the plug out of the light. Never touch the bulb with your bare hands. If you need to know how to change the bulbs, Bryn, BWSTT, did a wicked video. I'll link it in the description on how to change every bulb and lamp in the car, which is very handy. And you don't need to remove the headlights to do it, so that's a good one. But yeah, if you're going to be swapping these and you're going to be doing a load of work on the car, definitely remove the front bumper. For what it's worth, while you're there, you can check a few things, but it is a lot easier to get this out. And if that's tight, like mine is and most are, it's a lot easier to get a real feel for it if you've got you can hold the ratchet straight. If you've got it at a slight angle, you might snap it, and then you've got to take the front bumper off, and you're into a whole lot of extra hate as well. So definitely worth doing. But fitting wise, exactly the same thing as before. Actually, I'll show you this bracket while I'm here. It is just a case of clipping them both back in, get both plugs back in, and they literally just slide straight back into where they need to go to. You can roughly line this one up, pop these 3 back on first, then you can add on the other clip. Now these are a little bit fiddly to get in to the right place, but they do just sit up against the wing. Once you do that wing one up, it will pull it in tight anyway. But always do all fixings loose until you're finished. And like I said with this, so this is the clip here. The screen's doing all sorts of mad things. And all that does is that just sits like that over there, and you bolt into the wing there. If you don't have this fixing, it does quite rock a bit, because obviously it's only held on at the front of the top and in the centre, so it does sort of do that. So definitely worth getting. Jump on eBay, go to the parts breakers, there are 5 or 10 each. But you should always have them. Quite a lot don't actually. This car didn't when I had it, because obviously people have taken them off, forgot, or not put them back on again because they're lazy. But it does make a big difference, especially if you go for an MOT and they fail it. So always worth remembering. But guys, as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and tap that bell icon to be notified of more great videos from us. Thanks for watching, guys. That's another video from the Parrot Bros. Bye for now.